Hello, hi. Today we want to discuss for the consultation our question for the topic 2. Okay, look at the question number 3. During the New Year celebration at KLCC, a firework is shot into the air vertically. So the concept here is vertically. And then reach the height of 90 meter at the peak. Peak here means maximum of its flight. What does initial velocity have to be to do this? Okay, basically, from the concept of vertically, so this is based on free fall. And then for the concept of height at peak, meaning this is the maximum height, and then positive refer to direction upward. Alright, and then for the maximum height, the concept is the final velocity for the y-axis must be equal to 0. Using the equation of v square equal to u square minus 2gs, and then we substitute the value of final velocity 0, and then you can determine the value of initial velocity in meter per second. Next, we proceed to discuss question number 4. A fireman 50 meter away from the burning building direct a stream of water from a ground level at angle 30 degrees above the horizontal. If the speed of the stream leave 40 meter per second, at what height? At what height? Meaning we want to determine the value of SY. Will the stream of water strike the building? Okay, by looking at the diagram here, so we can see 50 meter from the fireman to the building. Actually, this is the value of SX, right? From the fireman to the building. Okay, next. Refer to the projectile motion at certain angle. We know that for this concept, we have value at y-axis and also x-axis. Okay, we start with the resolving vector here. So we need to resolve the initial velocity into y and also into x. Alright. So from here, we can see the value of ux is 40 cos 30, and then the value of uy 40 sin 30. And then we can determine ux meter per second and also uy in meter per second. And then using the value of range, actually sometimes we call this value is the range. Right, so sometimes we call as a horizontal distance or range. Okay, now the idea is we want to determine the height. Height actually the value at y-axis, right? So that's why I write the symbol y here, meaning the value must be at y-axis. And then the value of initial velocity refer to the y-axis. This is the time minus half gt. Alright. So, the problem is we need to determine the t here. Okay. So, we need to determine the time here. So, how? By using the formula of range, Sx equal to uxt. And then substitute the range value 50, and then the initial velocity 34.64, and then we can determine the time taken or the time of flight 1.44 second. Actually, refer to the value 1.44 second. Actually, this is the time taken, okay, from here, okay, from the starting until when the water strike the building. So the time here actually we call as a time of flight. Then the value is 1.44 second. Okay. After determine the value of time taken here, so we can substitute the value of t and then determine your SY value in meter. Alright. Next question, number 5. A student stand at the edge of a cliff and throw stone horizontally. So we need to highlight the keyword horizontally because of from the keyword horizontally, so we know that the initial speed must be referred to the x-axis, right? And then the initial velocity at y-axis must be equal to 0. This is the concept of projectile motion at a horizontally. And then the initial speed 18 meter per second. The cliff 50 meter above a flat horizontal beach. 1. Determine the time taken for the stone to strike the beach below the cliff. Okay, by referring the concept of the projectile motion, so we know that for the initial speed here, 18 meter per second, actually this is your ux. Right? And then what happened to the value of y? The value of y must be equal to 0. So we want to determine the time taken from the starting until ending here. Right? So this is the whole journey. The time taken for the whole journey. So actually, when we find or calculate the time taken here, actually this is your time of flight. Alright. So basically, from the concept ux equal to 18 meter per second and uy equal to 0 meter per second. After that, look at the height. Okay. So actually, so sy is a vertical displacement. This is negative. Okay, why negative? Why negative? Because of displacement, actually the shortest distance, from initial. So where your initial point? This is your initial point straight to the final point. So your final point should be on the ground. So from the starting to ending, so this is should be negative 50 meter. Right? Okay, next. How to determine time taken? So we use SY equal to UT minus half GT square. Remember, all the value here must be Y axis value. Okay, substitute the value of vertical displacement negative 50 and the UY must be equal to 0. So we can determine the value of time taken is 3.19 second. Alright, next. Question B, horizontal distance. So actually horizontal distance is your SX. Right? Sometimes we call as a range. Now look at the formula. SX equal to UXT. Be careful here. Your UX must be referred to the value of x-axis. Then, determine your answer in meter. Thank you.